everybody, it's Sara. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about some books that I've read recently and really loved. So I haven't done an April wrap up on my channel because I just got really carried away about Shadow and Bone and I completely forgot, to be honest. But I still really wanted to talk about some of the books that I've read in April and in the last couple of weeks that I really enjoyed. So I thought that I would do this video for all of you today. Also, I quickly want to say before I jump into all of these books, thank you so much for 900 subscribers. Honestly, your support is kind of like blowing my mind at the moment. We are getting pretty close to the very big 1K and it feels completely surreal. So if you watch my videos or if you subscribe, if you support me in any way, shape or form, thank you very much. But now, without any further ado, there are 4 books that I really want to talk about today, and the first one that I want to mention is Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. I have made an entire spoilery reading vlog for this book, so if you want to go and check it out, I will leave it linked in the cards up here. So I'm not going to go into too many details about all of my thoughts and feelings in today's video because I have an entire video of like 30 minutes of me screaming about this. So if you want to hear all of that, definitely go check it out. But I just quickly wanted to say that I really enjoyed this book. This is kind of like the last installment that we're going to have into the Grishaverse for a little while, at least. That is what Leigh Bardugo has said about this book, and I'm not going to explain what it is about because that would be extremely spoilery. Basically, this is the sequel to King of Scars. It takes place after the events of the first Shadow and Bone trilogy, as well as after the events of Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, and we follow characters from both of these series as they go on multiple crazy adventures. And this book was such a roller coaster of emotions. I enjoyed it from beginning to end. It made me scream, it made me laugh, it made me cry and sob. Like, there is one particular scene towards the end that really made me sob. And if you know me and if you've read this book, I think you can probably guess what it is. But yeah, I just really love this world. I am so sad to leave it behind for now, but also so happy about this book. I'm so happy about this conclusion to this universe. I love all of the characters so much. I love all of their relationships as well. And I think that Leigh Bardugo really did a fabulous job putting all of this together, and it was just so satisfying and so great, and I really loved it. Then the next book that I want to talk about is The Rise of Kyoshi by FC Yi. So this is kind of like a companion novel to the TV show Avatar: The Last Airbender. And in case you don't know about Avatar: The Last Airbender, basically it's this TV show. It's a fantasy TV show in which there are 4 different nations that are at war. So we have the Fire Nation, the Earth Kingdom, the Air Nomads, and the Water Tribes. And basically we follow our main character Aang, who is the Avatar, and he has the ability to control these 4 elements. And we follow him on his journey to bringing back the world's peace. And I am a very big fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender, as well as The Legend of Korra. I finished rewatching Avatar for like, I think the 3rd time at the beginning of the year, and then I watched Korra because I had never watched it. And I had heard about this series that is focusing on Avatar Kyoshi before, so when I finally finished all of these wonderful episodes, I jumped into this, and oh my gosh, it is so good. If you love Avatar but you still haven't read these novels, please just do yourself a favor and just do it. They are just so incredible. Well, I'm currently reading the second one, and so far I'm really enjoying it as much as the first one. So I feel like I can kind of already say that the second book is also going to be a 5 stars read for me. In this book we follow Avatar Kyoshi, who is one of Aang's past life from the series, and we do hear a lot about her in the series. So I was very intrigued to read about her story. And basically at the beginning of the book, Kyoshi is an orphan who is a servant for this very powerful man, and through different circumstances that I'm not gonna get into because I don't want to spoil anything, she is basically discovered to be the next Avatar. And so we follow her on all of her Avatar adventures, and it's just so good. I think that FC Yi did such a great job at capturing the essence of the original show while also just bringing a completely new spin on it, and it's just so well done. I love the characters. Obviously I love the world. Avatar: The Last Airbender is definitely like one of my comfort worlds. I just love to be in that world because it's just I don't know, it's so nostalgic, it's so familiar, and I just really love it. But at the same time, it's completely new in this book because there are so many new different conflicts that we don't see into the show, obviously, because this is taking place in the past. This is kind of like a prequel, so the world is still very different and very new. The humor is also absolutely excellent, and there are just so many great friendships and love stories at the center of these two books, and I absolutely adore each and every single one of them. I think that Kyoshi as a main character is incredible. I just really love her. I love how headstrong she is. I'm just constantly rooting for her, and like I said, I'm reading the second book right now, and it is as good as this one, and I cannot wait to see where the story goes. Then the next book that I want to talk about is another YA fantasy, and that book is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. Legendborn is the first book into a new YA fantasy series in which we follow our main character Bree, who goes to university, and when she arrives there during her first night on campus, she actually witnesses a magical murder. And as she is trying to understand what she saw, she gets tangled up into this secret organization that is very highly inspired by the legend of King Arthur. And it's basically this secret society that has been living on campus for like hundreds and hundreds of years. And as she starts to learn more about this organization, who call themselves Legendborn, she realizes that they may actually have something to do with her mother's death. Like pretty much everyone that I have seen who has also read this book, I loved it so much. It was so good. I really love the magic system. I thought it was so interesting. Not only do we follow the lore of King Arthur, like I said, but there is also this element of like African magic that is involved into the magic system, and I thought that that was absolutely fascinating. And it's also very interesting to see how they are combined and how they kind of like act one against the other, and I just loved everything about that. I really loved our main character Bree. I thought that she was super realistic. I also really loved how Tracy Deonn explored her grief throughout the book, because this is also obviously one of the main topics. And I also really loved the two other kind of main characters. I don't remember their names, but they're basically just like this very soft boy and a very bad boy, and I love them so much. I loved all of this dynamic that we had between all of the different characters, especially with all of the members of the order. I thought that all their relationships were super fascinating, and I was definitely very invested. The one thing that I would say though is that the organization sometimes completely lost me, because there are just so many titles and just so many references to Arthurian legends, which I'm not too familiar with, so I definitely would say that that kind of lost me sometimes. But overall, the plot was just so explosive. It really kept me going. I was on the edge of my seat honestly the entire time, and the ending was just completely crazy. I really loved it. I was also kind of surprised to see that like romance played a very big role in the book, but I personally really liked it. I really loved the romance in this book. I thought it was so sweet and so cute and so great, and also very entertaining because there was so much angst, and you all know how much I love angst. So yeah, overall I thought that this was such a solid first book to a new series, and I cannot wait to read the second one, because from what I can tell, it will only escalate from there, and I am so ready. And then finally, the last book that I want to talk about in today's video is a nonfiction that feels very personal to me, and that book is Ace by Angela Chen. And basically this book talks all about asexuality and what it means to be asexual in our society. And as someone who is myself on the asexual spectrum, this book hit very close to home many times, and it was also very enlightening and just very cathartic to kind of like see myself on the page and see some things explained to me in a way that I had never thought of before. And I feel like even if you're not asexual, even if you're not queer, you should definitely read this book, because it will teach you so much about what sexuality means in our society and about the way that society perceives sexuality. And it's just so fascinating. Like, there were so many things that I read in this book that I had never thought about in my entire life. Like, they had never crossed my mind, but the way that Chen explained them was just so clear and so smart, and I absolutely loved it. And like I said, certain things really made me emotional because they really made me understand some things about myself. But the thing that I really love about this book also is that Angela Chen got to interview a lot of different asexual people who are maybe people of color or disabled people or trans people. She really interviewed people with many different backgrounds and with many different identities to really try to create a picture that is way more full than the white, cis, hetero, romantic, asexual that a lot of people think about when they think about asexuality. And it was just very wonderful to read about all of these different people who live their asexuality so differently and who came to terms in such different ways and who learned about it in different ways as well. And it was just really lovely. And I definitely shed a couple of tears while reading this book because some of these experiences were very close to my own, but I also just had so many moments where I was just mind blown because I was just like, wow, okay, this is exactly like how I feel and it makes so much sense, and now I understand so many things. So yeah, it was just a really great experience reading this book, and I would definitely recommend it to everyone. I think that everyone can take away something from this book, even if you're not on the asexual spectrum. But that is it for today's video. These were 4 books that I read recently and really enjoyed. Let me know down below in the comments what is the last book that you read that you really love, because I would definitely love to know. And if you have read some of these books, feel free to leave your opinions on all of them in the comments down below. And I hope that you really enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!